Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is Wednesday, April 14th, but we're going to do this episode into the 15th.
Yeah.
11 o'clock our time. We're going to go right into dawn. No, not into dawn. That'll be a really long podcast.
Right.
A couple hours. And
yes.
We're going to get this out as soon as possible. YSGOAT almost live.
Yeah. Dawn Patrol.
Yep. It is, but before we get into everything, if you guys like what you hear, why don't you check out our Patreon?
Oh, yeah.
Become a member. Become a GOAT, a YSGOAT.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. If you like what we do here, if you we do this episode every week, and we try to do an episode on maybe like if there's some movie or TV show we like, we're going to do an episode soon on all 6 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was thinking of Falcon Crest or whatever, that show.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not doing an episode on Falcon Crest. I don't even think I ever seen an episode, man.
I remember like not watching it as a kid, but like knowing about it and always kind of like, would I like it? Would I not like it? It was like a 10 p.m. show.
Well, I do like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's a different show.
It's really fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks because there's still, I think, 2 more left.
Yes, 2 more episodes.
So yeah, check out our Patreon, become a member, throw us a buck, become a GOAT. We appreciate it. All right, on to the news or whatever we're going to talk about. What are we talking about this week?
We have a lot. I'll run through the topics real quick and then we'll kind of tackle them one by one. We're going to briefly talk about NFTs.
Okay.
And maybe a little Fast and Furious news. We're going to talk about Bernie Madoff, which was a big figure from back in the day. He passed away today or yesterday.
Too much. Let's save it for the.
Yep.
Probably talk about it as much as you just talked about it.
We're going to talk about Ashli Babbit, I think her name is, and the curious differences between the Minnesota protests and the January 6th protests, or see how that goes. And then we have kind of like a mix. It's weird. Like all of these are very.
Well, the January 6th was more of a terrorist attack.
Yeah, more of an insurrection.
Yeah, a violent coup attempt.
We're going to talk about these 4 stories that are all kind of related to some degree. The trial stemming from George Floyd's death, where Derek Chauvin is on trial. We're going to talk about the Dante Wright shooting, which happened just recently. And I'm hoping I get this name right. Caron Nazario, who was a black soldier that was pulled over by 2 cops. This happened back in December, but it's news now because he's suing those cops. And then Jonathan Pentland, who just went like full life destruction mode and then published a video about it in which he assaulted a black kid walking through his neighborhood. We're going to talk about Matt Gaetz briefly, Ben Shapiro, and then we're going to wrap it up with Mike Rowe and the hillbilly elegy guy in kind of that'll be our ending. So that's what we got on tap.
All right, cool. Yeah, there's a lot to do. Let's just get out of the way Fast and Furious real quick.
Yes.
So there's this movie that came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was so mediocre. They said, let's make like 10 more of them.
Yeah.
And people were like, yes, please do. And it's one of the few movies out there in a franchise. See, back in the day when I was younger, sequels tend to make less money than the originals do.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's fair.
The first one, unless the first one like was a squeaker, and then the second one becomes like this big thing, like Terminator 2 or Austin Powers 2, like where the first one was more like a sleeper hit, big success on video. But usually back in the day, it was the first movie made a ton of money. The second movie tend to do almost as good, maybe not. And by the time the fourth movie, the box office just diminishes.
Yeah. They don't even have the same actors anymore.
Yeah, like they used to have Tom Cruise, now they have Michael Pare.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
remember that
it
guy?
is.
Like they're like, well, we can't really. They by the fourth movie, they have like the old guy from the first movie, and the old guy's now the most important
Yes,
character because,
right.
like Michael Gross in the Tremors straight to the
Oh yeah.
movies. You know, they're not getting Kevin Bacon for those. You know, they're not getting.
No, but that was the hallmark of it. You would go from a luminary like Olivia Newton-John to a backseat scrub like Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, what did she ever do?
That's how.
She amounted to absolutely nothing. Right.
Which is why Grease 2 went nowhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was the general dynamic.
So Fast move. And now Marvel movies are different. Marvel movies are very different. Let's not even talk about that because those movies are a different monster altogether. But Fast movies were one of these. Okay, so the Fast and Furious movie came out, the first one, and then I think Vin Diesel decided not to be in the second one.
I think so.
And then he doesn't show up. He shows up in the end of the third one for like a second, and like in the end.
Yeah.
The third movie, the franchise was kind of dead. It was called like Tokyo Drift.
Oh yeah.
People were not really drifting with that.
No, that's such a niche racing move.
Had like a little Bow Wow in it.
Did it really?
Yeah, I think he was in it.
Was that the one with Exhibit?
Was still in it, but I don't know why he's not in any of these new ones. But
too soon. Yeah. No.
You know what the most ironic thing about Paul Walker's death? I don't want to get into it too much. I'm not trying to make fun of him, but the fact that he died like in a high-speed car accident is like really ironic.
It is ironic. It is ironic.
I mean, I know like Dom would say he lives his life by a quarter of a mile or
quarter of a mile at a time.
I live my life like a quarter mile at a time.
I saw the first Fast and Furious. Did that have Michelle Rodriguez in it?
I don't know. I think she's in all of them, or maybe she's only in two of them. I have no idea.
I think, wasn't it? I don't know. I did see the first one. I remember making fun of them and then seeing the first one and kind of enjoying it for what it was. And then, it just went bananas. There's like 20 of them. The plot lines are increasingly complicated. I think I saw one. I think this was a Fast and Furious movie. I saw it when I was flying. I was on an airplane, and this was like the movie they let you watch, where a dude drove a car from like the 30th story of a building onto the 20th story of another building. Like he just like went through the window of a skyscraper and into another skyscraper.
Is that Fast and Furious 73 or
it was one of them. I'm almost positive it was a Fast and Furious movie.
So they announced another one, and each one of these movies they get new people in it, and I mean they have the normal, like the regular cast. It's like a kind of like how they say the military is really just like an employment program for the U.S. Like it's just like to get Fast and Furious franchise is the same thing. It's like, it keeps Vin Diesel afloat.
Yep.
That other lady who I forgot her name. She's like an old one, and I feel like she's in like nothing else anymore.
Is it Helen Mirren?
No, she's just in this one. Is she playing like Vince the main guy's like mom or something? Like, do you want to know where Dom learned how to drive?
Right.
This was his mumsy. Oh God, shoot me. You know that. I just wrote that. That shit. That's probably it. She's playing like. Well,
she was an old getaway driver or something. Like she was like,
about family.
Yeah, it'll be weird. It'll be like a weird like sideways sequel to like Baby Driver.
They'll probably imply that she's like, a hot grandma, you know what I mean? They're gonna do that, like they'll do something like she's all sexy.
Right. Yeah.
And but it's one of these, it's the Fast and Furious movies, like the fourth movie came out years later, after three, because like there was like a dad. They brought it back, they got Vince Neil. What's his name?
Vince Neil, Vin Diesel. That would have been great. Vince Neil.
Well. Oh, yeah,
Like
Vince Neil maybe should not be in any movies that have to do with cars.
The big puffy version that like doesn't
No, I was
speak.
just gonna say because of his accident where
he killed the drummer of Hanoi Rocks or something.
Yeah, probably best that he is not in any of these.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's like lawyers just waiting, yeah, not a good idea, Vince Neil. Don't crash again, Vince.
Right.
So the fourth movie came out, and they just get bigger and bigger each one. They make more money each one. It is insane. The Rock eventually joined the cast at some point. Jason Statham has joined the cast. There's like all these. Oh, I guess Wonder Woman started out in these movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's from these. I don't know if she's in any of the newer ones, but she's in a couple of the other ones. I
think Sir John Gielgud was in like the fourth one or something. Is that?
Yeah, probably. John, is that guy been dead for like?
I have no idea.
Wait, is he the butler in
Arthur?
That Arthur?
Yeah,
that guy's been dead since like the mid-80s. I heard Arthur's in it.
That would be great. I would love to see.
Why would you let Arthur drive the car? Let me drive the car. He's all drunk and dead because Dudley Moore's been dead for like 30 years.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is dead.
Yeah, he's been dead for
is Liza
Arthur, as much as we want Arthur 3.
Is Liza Minnelli dead?
No, she's alive. She was in those Arrested Development. She was Lucille too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was great in it. She had vertigo all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so these movies are terrible. I know people who love them.
Yeah, they do.
Love them. And they released a new trailer, and it looked just as dumb as all the other ones. And I don't want to talk about this too long. I mean, I could, but what did I say? And I said, I'm not a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, and I don't like to judge. But I do think it's fair that people who don't have a functioning frontal lobe get to enjoy entertainment as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think it's fair. It's like people who, can't function.
Right. Yeah. Like, look,
everyone's gonna have stimulants.
Right. And it can't always be a pudding cup. Sometimes you need something more.
Remember that bullshit years ago that was supposed to stimulate little kids' brains? It was like young Einstein.
Oh yeah, baby Einstein, and yeah.
It ended up being proven complete garbage.
Right.
It's like that for like late teens, early 20s douchebags.
Yeah.
That's what the Fast and Furious series is for. It's for like. Or, it's like young Einstein for like 45-year-old men who really like that first one. This movie is like, isn't that insane? Now, this movie was supposed to come out last year, but COVID thankfully spared us.
Well,
some people say COVID was really bad. Some would say COVID was really bad. But you got to look at some of the benefits of COVID. One of them was, we were spared a year without a Fast and Furious movie. Yeah,
right. And there is like in a lot of ways. There's a certain number. There's at least 500,000 people for whom this Fast and Furious never existed. They never had.
That's dark as fuck.
Thanks again, Trump. Thanks again.
Yeah. We could thank Trump for two things: killing 600,000 people and delaying the Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
Well, I believe he deserves all the credit. All the credit.
I will say this. I certainly don't begrudge anyone neither their Fast nor their Furious pleasures. And if this is your thing, I don't know if it's like a break quarantine type of event, but if you feel 90% of the people going to this movie probably don't even know there was a coronavirus. Yeah.
I truly believe there are people who have no clue about COVID.
Yeah.
Somebody I know told me a story recently.
Okay.
Not making this up. This is really funny. Someone told me this the other day. They have like they were talking to somebody from their backyard. It faces like something, and people walk by and they knew somebody, and that person was talking to this other person walking by.
Sure.
And that person started talking about, and this was like probably like fall last year, we'll say.
Yeah.
And that person said, I don't have any taste and I can't smell anything. And he started to back further and further. He was already further away, but he backed even further away.
Naturally.
And that person, months and months and months into this pandemic, did not know or understand that probably the biggest giveaway of COVID wasn't like a sore throat or cough. It was the fact you couldn't smell.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That's like, that was the giveaway. That and death. Death was also a giveaway. Like if you died, like that was definitely like a warning sign right there.
Certainly.
But so I do believe that, and that there are people out there who, you know, I'm not talking about the nasty ones that think it's not real or like,
right, but people who are genuinely unaware of the
right
thing.
But I could bet you one thing.
Huh.
Oh, they know when this Fast and Furious movie is coming out.
Yeah.
There's a tight correlation between these two.
Yeah.
Also guarantee you they like that song, You're Down with the Business. that whatever system, I don't even know what the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Stain or whatever.
Yeah. I there are, you know, there's a crowd for everyone. You wonder sometimes, like, would there be a market for an Ugly Kid Joe reunion tour? And there would be, you know. Yeah, there would be. And they would also
I was thinking of, we'll wrap this up and we have a lot of things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Wasted way too much time on this stupidity, but yep. I will say this, and I meant to tweet it out, and I lost the opportunity because I moved on to other things. There was this movie, around the time Fast and Furious came out, there were a bunch of rip-off movies, and one of these movies was called Biker Boys.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, this movie's original. It's a movie about guys on bikes, as opposed to, like, not bikes like 10 speeds. I mean, like motorcycles.
That would have been awesome.
I mean, you're right. They got those stupid like fluorescent colored like shirts and like
banana seats and shit.
Yeah. Biker Boys. No, Kid Rock was in the movie.
Yes.
And I like to think that Kid Rock is still part of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he was not in any other of these movies. I mean, I know he was in Biker Boys and it's different.
Right.
But he should totally be able to bleed right into this.
Yeah.
Like a seamless transition to have, and I'm surprised they never brought him in.
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity.
Some people will make an argument with the Fast and Furious movies and say that these movies are actually really good and they have a very good diverse cast. A lot of different kinds of people like them. They're very popular with minorities, very big in like with Latino people and like other groups.
Sure.
And that's great. I'm not making fun of them. So that, I'm just pointing out, I've heard those positivities that, that there's like actors and actresses, and ethnicities that are not represented in other franchises or not well enough, and that Fast and Furious has stepped up. So we'll leave that on a positive note.
Yeah, and I'll say I commented on your tweet saying it was some long story about how a gentleman had a heart attack at one of the showings, and
yes,
no one could help him because they couldn't dial 911. They couldn't find an 11 on their phone. And I apparently some people took umbrage at like the poking fun of and whatever. I love dumb stuff too. You know what I mean? Like this, I think Fast and Furious is a particular kind of dumb. But look, I am living in a glass house here because you could poke around my house and there's a ton of dumb shit I really love. Like
right. I love to just shit on things that people like. That's just what I like to do. There's something mentally wrong with me.
How I roll.
What?
It's how I roll.
Yeah, I have a severe disposition, and it makes me unlikable, and I have to go reevaluate myself.
All right. Well, speaking of dumb things that people We're going to talk briefly about NFTs. You have a plan for an NFT, from what I understand.
All right, so I woke up Saturday morning finding out that somebody stole my work and made it into an NFT.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen at some point. It was just inevitable. I'd say anyone who's listening to this who's an artist, just know that there's some piece of shit out there that is screenshotting your Instagram or whatever and trying to make an NFT of it. And it's not really hard to do because it's very easy to make a screenshot.
And it's not hard to make an NFT. It just takes a little time and money.
Yeah, you just have to be able to fund it or whatever. Whatever. Thankfully, a site contacted me that I guess ran it, or one of the people who runs it, contacted me and said, "Is this your artwork?" And I said, "Yeah." He said that he already had it blocked before he even contacted me, so no one could buy it at the time. I don't know if any of them sold. He removed it, thankfully. I guess I'm just a famous enough artist out there. People know my work.
I thought that was like a pretty stand-up thing on his part. You know, I mean, like, of course that's what he should do, but like, I thought that was pretty cool.
The thing is, with these NFT things, I don't really have it. I'm not super crazy about them, but I guess the people who run these things, the one thing about them is the things that makes it valuable is one, that it's authentic.
Yep.
That it comes from the actual person who created it or connected to whatever in some way, you know, obviously in a state or something, or so having somebody buy something, you know, the people who buy these supposedly, you know, the people who are using it as a money laundering scheme, who buy these things, I guess they'll be pissed if they find out they did not buy it from the actual artist or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Look it down. I was thinking about this. I'm against them, but I'm a big enough of a sellout and willing to give up my dignity. Is that the word? Or
yeah, sure, dignity.
Well, I don't know if
integrity.
The right word.
Integrity might be a better word.
Yeah, I don't think it's integrity either. I have no problem selling an NFT for $1 million.
Yeah, that seems like a good.
I'm not gonna sell like a bunch of little ones. I'm gonna sell for $1 million. My wife has already asked me when I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
She actually expects this to happen. No pressure.
Oh, it could. Like, these things are so weird and unpredictable.
You never know. You never know. You told me some New York Times reporter sold a screenshot of his article for $750,000.
Yeah, he sold it, and it's for $750,000. And
insane.
Yeah.
Probably was paid, I don't even know what a New York Times article goes for.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, this article was about blockchain technology, so it was a specific.
Okay, so it actually was like related. It wasn't like monkey at zoo.
It was John Gielgud's obituary from the year 2000. It was John.
Random.
Yeah. Well, no, it was so it was a related article. It was an article that, like, I don't think it was a necessarily very famous article, but it was about blockchain and all that. So I don't know. I mean, like, the odds of it selling, I think, are somewhere between 0 and 100%. You know, I mean, like,
who knows?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But fuck it, if I'm gonna do one, I'll sell for $1 million. And if somebody says something to me, I'll be like, you know, they're like, "Hey, you were talking shit about this." I'll be like,
"Yes,
yeah, but I just paid off my mortgage, my car, and I get to live like a comfortable life now."
Yeah, right.
So yeah, okay. You know, I used to think about when I was a kid, like a teenager in high school and college. We were like in the punk scene.
Yeah.
One of the big things, like in the late 90s, I would always hear people talking about bands, people selling out.
Yeah.
And I remember we'd find out one of our bands we liked went on like Epitaph Records.
Okay.
They sold out. And I'm like, did they? I bet you they didn't make a dime on Epitaph Records.
Yeah,
you
probably
find
not.
out things when you're older, like reality kicks in. And it's like, and I know I sound like an old man now. Like, oh, you love me like your parents' house, and you eat avocado toast, you know. But like, the idea of like selling out is, especially when you talk about like a band. Like, I think about it now, and I'm like, fuck, yeah, man. I hope you sell out.
Yeah.
Oh no, what will that dipshit that likes your band for 30 seconds and then moves on to the next band? They're gonna be like, oh man, you sold out.
Yeah.
5,000. You know, get the fuck out of here. If they like you, they'd be like, good, go make your money.
I always look at, like, in Hollywood, I always see like certain actors do that. They will completely sell out and do some nonsense bullshit movie for a bunch of money, and then they'll make like 3 or 4 movies that they really want to make. You know, like Bill Murray will be in Garfield, and then he'll be in like Jim Jarmusch's Dead Flowers. You know, and it's like, oh, okay, well,
the art is Garfield and the selling out is Jim Jarmusch.
But there are actors like that. Like I'm trying to think of a few others, but there's like a stable of them. Johnny Depp might be one of them. You know, he'll do all those stupid.
It's like Paul Rudd. You know, he sells out, does a Marvel movie, and then he goes and does an art piece like the new Ghostbusters film. You know, right. Whatever.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What?
No, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, of course you want to.
Oh, you're okay if I make $1 million off this?
I would 100%. Look, I always encourage people to sell out whenever they can. You know,
you're telling me. Wait, so you good? I feel better now that you will be okay with me making $1 million, and you know, I think you're basically giving me like an invitation to do this.
Yeah, I would.
In a way, it's like you just gave me $1 million. You know, thank you. So yeah, you can just send that to my.
I am glad to do it.
All right. Well, I don't know. I still think they're nonsense. I think they're really weird. And yes, if I sold it for $1 million, it would make me laugh. But I would also look at this and go, you know what? I'm getting closer to my mid-40s every day. I've been working my ass off. Well, I guess. Yeah. I've been working my butt off as an artist for a very long time. And if the thing that made me $1 million was a fucking JPEG, one that would be weird.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of funny.
Right. I always like I wouldn't want to be like Van Gogh or something who like
you die and then like 100 years later.
Yeah. You die penniless and earless and like thinking that you're a complete failure, and then later on, like, wealthy people have your pictures on their yachts.
You ever hear somebody say that, like, doesn't that make you feel good? Like, no, fuck that. Why would that make me feel good?
Miserable. That's the worst thing ever. That would be the worst.
Like when I found out my art was stolen, this guy was selling like 3D prints of it. This was a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, is that a compliment? No, it's not a fucking compliment. It's called thief. It's a thief.
Yes, it makes me angry.
Like, I'm like a lawyer and I want to like sue them and destroy them. Like, no, we get one life to live.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, maybe I know in some cultures you live many and then some
don't. But even then, this is all you can count on. You know, I mean, like.
They always have that, like, you ever notice, like, the whole, like, you get many lives, but you don't remember your previous life.
Nice.
Because we're just really energy being transferred. It's like, well, then what the fuck is that? I'm not enjoying that.
Right.
I mean, I think if I woke up the next day, like I died and I woke up and I'm in a new body and I'm like, I got to go through this shit again? I got to go through growing up again?
I just hope, yeah.
What?
Well, anyway, I would do it because, like you said, you got one shot. And in fact, I would say, like, I'm going to sell only one. That's why it's so valuable. There will only ever be one. And then if it sold for $1 million, God damn it, the very next day, I'd be like, there's another.
That's 2 million.
I have another.
That's even more rare. It's 10 million.
It's basically a photocopy of the first one in NFT form.
Right. In POG form. And
that's what I would do. Is I would Xerox the check they wrote for $1 million. And that
make that into an NFT. So, real quick, do you think that, you know, like back in the day, remember you ever seen the movie Titanic?
Yeah.
Remember the part when you saw what's her fate's boobs? Kate Winslet. Draw me like a Frenchman. What? You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
TV version?
Probably. I don't think I ever saw it.
That's not the point I'm making anyway. I just want to talk about that scene for a second, regardless. There's a scene, well, what's her face? The woman from the shit. What's her name? Kathy. She was in like the Stephen King book where she.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah, Kathy Bates. She plays like a famous woman that like didn't sink.
Yes, yeah.
But she was like, they called her like New Rich. Like, she's money, you know. She
Nouveau
like,
riche, yeah.
Understood like working class people and whatever, but she was rich. So she wasn't really 100% respected by the blue bloods. Right. You think there'd be like some guy who is like worth like 100 million now from selling NFTs of like a pixel dog or something, and like they go into like the neighborhood and they're like, oh, what does he do? Oh, he's NFT rich.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I 100% think.
Like crop of weird rich people that like are loaded because they sold JPEGs to the mafia.
Well, the weird thing is that there's like a decent number of people that literally make tens of thousands of dollars a day, just routine. That's just how they live, you know. They if you sold one NFT for $1 million, these people would still not see that as like, oh, this person's rich. They would be like, oh, this person like won a lottery ticket, or they wouldn't conceptualize it as like the product of labor. You know, it's just people with old money, generational money. They're just different. They're weird. You know, they see the world differently.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Regardless, it's really strange, but yeah, I'm gonna get on that. Well, now I feel pressure. My wife expects me to make $1 million.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. I should have said anything. And now I have the permission from you.
Yeah.
You gave me a get out of sell out jail free card. And you gave me another card saying if I do sell one, then I don't have to stop there.
Hey, right? Well,
then I'll become a disgusting Republican. And all of a sudden I'll be like, you know what? Stop the steal.
So Jesus.
Stop this. You know what?
That's a good.
Those patriots that stormed the Capitol to defend my capital. You know, my money.
Yeah,
that I made from this NFT of Joseph.
It is weird. This is kind of like an odd confluence because we were going to talk about
YSGOAT conversation.
We were going to talk about Bernie Madoff, who is kind of a scam artist, and the suspicion behind these NFTs has always been that they're a bit of a scam. But then we were going to talk about Ashli Babbit, who was shot while storming the Capitol.
Yeah, he was like there to kill people.
Yeah, but Bernie Madoff, I know you said we were only going to talk about him for a second, which is fine with me. Such a weird.
He just died today. I guess he was in jail still.
He was in jail. My brother texted me when my brother Matthew texted me when he learned that he died. And this is kind of a weird thing. Let me see. What did Matthew say? He was scheduled for release in 2139. So
I guess he got early release on good behavior.
Yeah, my brother said, I know he ruined a lot of lives, but it's kind of sick to schedule someone for release when they would be 200 years old.
I mean, just call it a life sentence and get it over with.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they, he's there to serve 2 life sentences. Like the guy went there, in his early 70s or something?
Yeah, Bernie Madoff was weird. I almost made fun. It's just a weird coincidence. I almost made a Bernie Madoff joke yesterday. You had said, you were talking about Mike Rowe.
Right now.
And then,
Bernie Madoff is dead. He was a man who had a name that told you what he went to jail for.
Yeah. Well, the day before, you said something about Mike Rowe, and a person answered your tweet, replied, and said, wasn't Mike Rowe a big Bernie supporter, which is bullshit. But I almost said, yeah, he was. He was a big Bernie Madoff supporter.
Well, did write that.
No, that was going to be my joke. I don't think did I publish that?
I don't know.
I don't think I hit publish because I looked up Bernie Madoff at the same time because I wanted to make sure, like, I don't know, I just wanted to remember more of what he was. And then the dude dropped dead like the next day. But Bernie Madoff is weird. He stole a bunch of money from rich people. And
well, weren't they like not all rich?
I think eventually it started getting in some pensions and stuff like that, and then regular people got hurt. But he started off stealing from the very wealthy.
Kevin Bacon and his wife got fucked by him.
Yeah, Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah, that's why like him and his brother had to go on a Bacon Brothers tour, to get some money back.
They should do a Bacon Brothers NFT.
Get all that Bernie Madoff money back by some jackass would buy it.
Well, I mean, obviously, look, Bernie Madoff stole money from people. That's wrong, and the way he did it was slimy and everything. But it was just such. Anyway, as I was reading his Wikipedia page, I'm like, this is such a weird story, and I'm not like 100% convinced I hate him as much as I used to.
Didn't it start out like just like anything? It just got worse and worse as he went along.
I think that was it. I almost think he trapped himself. Like he stole a bunch of money from some dude, and then the dude came looking for his money. And so he had to steal a bunch of money from some other dude and put it in the first dude's account. And then the second dude's looking for his money, and Bernie's like, oh, it was kind of like a madcap screwball comedy. He's like, wait.
Making a great movie starring, I don't know who would play him. But
yeah, like I'd say like Jim Carrey, something like that.
Sure, why not?
So, but then he just like,
let me tell you something.
Well, much like Lucy at the chocolate factory, by the end of the day, Bernie Madoff's got his hands in like all these different investment plays, like moving money back and forth.
Lucy at the chocolate factory. Wow, that's a real like current reference.
That
every person who's not 80 gets.
Look, Bernie Madoff was like super old. It's like,
well, yeah, but he's dead, so he's not going to make a joke.
Well, anyway,
I got your reference.
It is weird. I in my like 45 seconds of research on Wikipedia, I came away with like a different view of Bernie Madoff than I thought I did, and I don't think I tweeted that joke. I don't think he's a great man. I was just like, this is.
Well, the thing about him, the timing of when he went down and like he went to jail was kind of interesting. He almost became like the villain of the housing crisis in 2008.
Yeah.
But he was like not part of the housing crisis, right? Like what he did, which I'm sure wasn't great for the economy as a whole, had nothing to do with the savings and loans disaster in 2008, right?
Yeah. I don't think so.
The media, because when that was happening, the whole thing with Bernie Madoff was happening too. And it was almost like the media, the corporate media, was like using him as like a face to this. And it was almost like as if you're not paying attention enough, you would think that there was justice done from the housing crisis because Bernie Madoff went to jail.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, he had like nothing to do with it because he was doing something else.
Yeah.
But I just remember the timing on it was really interesting.
It was, and it was such a, I think because so many celebrities were involved, it was a very famous story at the time. And, if you're like around anywhere between your age and my age, you remember Bernie Madoff. That was a big story.
All the food-based name celebrities. Bernie Madoff. Kevin Bacon.
Right.
Bobby Burgers.
Yep. John Hamm.
Yeah. What's funny about John Hamm?
Yeah.
He's Jewish.
Oh, yeah, that is.
I don't know if he's kosher or not.
What is
his name isn't.
Right. That would be funny. Wasn't there a famous celebrity with the last name of Mayo? Like that would be funny if like he married Mayo, like him.
Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be hysterical. R.I.P. to a great American, a true hero of capitalism, a man who truly understands how to take advantage of the system, right?
Yeah, Bernie Madoff, man. All right.
I hope someone makes a movie about him and turns him into like, they do like a Social Network type thing where you leave the movie and they make him out to be like a rebel. And
yeah,
I love Bernie. You know what? I heard Bernie Madoff is going to star in the next Fast and Furious movie.
Right.
And then Donald's going to look at the screen and go, look like he made off with our money.
Yeah. Well, this will be a interesting transition to a real criminal. Ashli Babbit. This is a weird story. Ashli Babbit was one of the
heroes.
Well, she was one of the domestic terrorists that showed up in Washington on January 6th, and she assaulted the Capitol. And she didn't just, like some people, I think some people were there. Maybe they never entered the Capitol building. They were like tailgating or something, shouting, death to the great Satan or whatever these patriots do. And they went home, and that was that, but this
weird, like, grandma lady, like, knitting a sweater that was at the Capitol.
Well, this woman was trying to climb through a broken window, and I guess Capitol police officers were on the other side of that window telling her not to, and she kept doing it. And then one of the cops shot her in the shoulder, and I didn't realize it was in the shoulder, but they shot her in the shoulder. She fell down, and then, like, all the other rioters were like, well, maybe we'll try another window. And they took her to the hospital, and she died there later as a result of the gunshot wound.
Wow.
And so the cop didn't even really try to kill her per se. I mean, the cop, like, winged her.
Well, I'm not going to defend murder or assault or any of that. But she was not there to. She was there to kill people.
If you're charging a police officer with his gun drawn, and you're trespassing in there to, like, hang the vice president, shit's gonna happen. All right, that's an occupational hazard.
You can't even say she was just there. She was.
No.
If you see the footage, they put chairs and everything they could to block the doors from the hundreds of lunatics that were trying to break in, so they can go kill politicians. Like,
yeah.
And this woman was one of the people on the front, and she was using all her might.
Yes.
To try to break through those barriers like a fucking horde in Game of Thrones or a zombie in Walking Dead, like
White Walker,
fucking psychopath trying to get in. If she got in, she would have killed somebody. Like, there is no doubt about it. She would have.
Well,
that's what she was there specifically to do.
Apparently, too, she was a former Air Force.
Right, she was like military,
so she knew the drill. Like, if someone, they probably at some point said, like, hey, if some dude charges our Air Force base and you have a gun drawn and they keep charging, you can shoot them. They probably said that.
Video footage of her talking to her camera, like the nuts doing the car, person talking about Dunkin' Donuts, or the opening of a Fast and Furious movie. I kid the Fast and Furious.
Yes.
And she was like going on this like insane tirade.
Yeah.
The woman was insane. And like somebody was like, there's people on Twitter and stuff like that, and they're like, wish they could have like did something, and like she wasn't killed, and her life, maybe like she would learn from this. No, sure. She would never. Her brain was fried. Let's say she wasn't killed. She was apprehended. Well, one, she'd probably be facing trial. Of course, like any of these people, they would politicize it, of course.
Yep.
There'd be GoFundMes or whatever. This woman would not learn any lessons.
No.
She would be seen as a hero by the far right.
Yep.
And there's no lesson to be learned here. She wanted to kill people who she saw as her enemy.
Yeah.
The people that she thinks were like preventing whatever the fuck was going on in her life. They're the reason why her life who knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Don't know. Like, that's the weirdest thing about January 6th. It was like, what were these people's grievances actually about?
Yeah. It is.
Aunt Jemima bottles? Like, what's your grievance? Like, you want Trump to remain in power of all?
It's screwy.
That's insane. But like, okay, let's say we apprehend her, and okay, it would take years of medical treatment, mental health resources, and I'm not saying like, oh, she would clean the system. I'm just saying this would be no easy task, and on top of it, she would have to be removed completely from anyone she knows. It's like an Alcoholics Anonymous, like people who have who are addicts.
Yeah,
one of the number one things they have to do is literally get away.
Yeah, it would be
a group of friends or relatives or anyone.
You have to want help too. You know, I mean, that's Ashli Babbit was like a smooth-brained little chipmunk head. You know, I mean, like she did not want to develop a new wrinkle in her brain that indicated learning or something. I mean, it was if you imagine like a normal brain would be like a walnut, kind of like how it's like. Hers would be like silly putty fresh out of the egg. You know, I mean, it's
picking up that Archie comic.
Yeah.
All those old misprints, Jughead's eating hamburgers.
Right. So this wasn't, I don't know. Look, I agree. I 100% agree. Fewer people dying, that should have been the goal. Like it sucks that anybody died. But
the whole thing should never have happened.
The whole thing should never have happened.
The people who supposedly say Ashli Babbit, they think it's horrible what happened to her. If anybody out there who it's mostly like the hard right and stuff, they should be blaming Trump for her death. Trump is the reason why. Trump's the reason why they were there.
Yeah. Well, that's
Trump
100%
was the
true.
one that put everyone in that position. Trump was the one that made sure the National Guard wasn't there.
Yep.
And that there was a more panicked, smaller police force.
Yeah. Also true.
And again, it's like, so the reason why I even brought her up was because her name got brought up by people in right-wing media and stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to compare the death between her, false equivalency between her, and people like George Floyd and who was the one killed for selling a loose cigarette?
Oh, geez. Eric
Garner.
What was
Eric
his
Gardner?
name? Eric, yeah, that sounds right. Eric Gardner.
Yeah. And it's like, no, these are not.
Yeah, they're apples and oranges.
She chose to be there. She chose to break into the biggest government building in the United States to go kill lawmakers on the day that they finalize a president after a fair election. She was there to kill people.
Yeah.
Eric Gardner was just
selling cigarettes.
Selling a loose cigarette, doing nothing wrong. In the end of the day, in the big picture, did nothing wrong. George Floyd did nothing wrong.
Right.
He lived his life. And they're dead for they are dead for existing. They're dead for existing and standing at the wrong place at the wrong time. And she died because of every decision she made.
Yeah. Now she may have had mental health problems. There could have been a whole bunch of stuff where, again, like whatever. I mean, I wish she had never died. But I don't know, man. These are just.
And I'm not you, but I'm saying no one's making such a gross false equivalence.
Right.
Between the death of George Floyd and Ashli Babbit, they are not. It doesn't even make any sense compare. And the people that are doing that, they are admitting their support to the January 6th terrorist attack on the Capitol. They're basically saying to you, like, if you can say that what happened to the people that died that day is awful, regardless of what side they were or what they were doing.
Yeah.
But if you start to martyrize somebody, which is what they're doing with this woman, who was literally a soldier, a QAnon soldier, literally.
Well, and she was a U.S. Service member at some point. I mean, she took an oath to defend the country. She took an oath to defend.
And in her fucked up way, she thought she was defending the country.
True.
Because she was told that the election was stolen before it even was finished, because Trump was telling people it was stolen every fucking day. And it's batshit insane. And to make the gross accusation to people who are actually victims victims of like, there's people who are like victims of circumstance, and then there's people who are just like when maybe I'm explaining wrong. Like a victim of circumstance would be like someone who put themselves in that position almost, right?
No, a victim of circumstance would be mostly like an innocent bystander. Like,
okay, never mind.
I just found myself here.
Okay, no, she's not a victim of circumstance. No. The exact opposite.
Yeah, she placed herself in that harm's way.
She traveled there. She was part of the group. She was in the front line to break in and kill Mike Pence, which, you know, I mean, you know, someone's gotta go. You know,
well,
you know, listen, you know,
it is weird. This kind of like, it's what you were saying. You brought this up earlier, that like there's a protest in Minnesota that was like kind of a generally peaceful protest. I think one person was arrested for tapping a cop on the shoulder, trying to get his attention. And the January 6th riots, the right has for so long tried to portray these largely peaceful protests as these awful violent things, and it's just they've kind of torn themselves into knots now that they have their own insurrection to defend, you know.
Yeah, but they like, yeah, or it's so weird too, because it's like, okay, so you think that Ashli Babbit was a victim and was I don't know if you support what she did that day, but it was Antifa that did this.
Right.
Remember, like even literally that day, Matt Gaetz was saying it was Antifa.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz said that literally that day, that Antifa invaded the Capitol. He was too busy getting hitting on a 13-year-old that I guess he couldn't see what was going on. You know, too busy looking down. But like, to compare the two is disgusting. So, yeah, there was a guy who was killed. What was his name again?
Which one? Which one are you talking?
Recently, there's like
Dante Wright was.
Okay, so there was a protest in Minnesota recently.
Mm-hmm.
National Guard or whatever it is was in full effect, shooting at people.
Yep.
Shooting them behind gates, and you're like, where were these people on January 6th? Where were these people on January 6th? Ted Cruz, a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Ted Cruz, was saying to Sean Hannity about these protests, how horrible they are, and how the Democrats support these people. And he said that with like no irony whatsoever, being that he fully supported January 6th, kind of instigated it.
Yeah.
And was like a big part of it.
Yeah.
And he had the nerve to, and again, he had the nerve to attack people that have a grievance, you know, like, hey, please stop killing us. It's a big grievance to have, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like stop murdering us. Thank you. And linking these people to, and saying like the Democrats are the ones that are doing this. It was just like, I can't stand that man. That man is
he's rough.
So disgusting. And the Republicans would gladly vote for him for president.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I guess that leads to the thing about the recent deaths, because that's what I brought up Ashli Babbit, is that the right wing was trying to do a gross false equivalency. And they keep doing it. You hear it every day. They'll bring her name up, and it's like, again,
it is.
Like she was just standing on a corner and then got killed by a cop.
It is weird. And I thought
a crime. Literally.
I thought for a long time about how I wanted to like talk about it, because like there's four cases, I guess we'll call them, and the one was the one that's like almost near the end of it, and that's Derek Chauvin being on trial for killing George Floyd. And that seems like a terrible, egregious thing. We all saw it. The guy choked George Floyd to death over 9 minutes, and it was kind of a bullshit stop to begin with, you know, and it's just a horrible thing. You know, that seems like a classic, this is a symptom of a giant problem. And then the other ones that Dante Wright was killed the other day. And that seems like in a lot of ways real different, even though it's the biggest similarity is there's another dead black person, at the hands of a cop. And then we talked about a little bit about Karen Nazario, who was a black army. He was a soldier. And he got pulled over for a bullshit reason. They couldn't see his tag. It was like a temporary tag tacked to his rear window instead of in the driver's license, in the license holder. And they pulled him over for a bullshit reason. They wound up macing him or pepper spraying him, and
that was months ago. And the reason we're seeing that now is because of the cam footage got out.
Yeah, it happened in December of 2020. And I think the reason the cam footage got out is because Nazario sued those two cops. And I'll bet you he got the film, the footage as part of his discovery, would be my guess. I don't know that, but that would make sense. And then the last one's like a weird one where this fucking raging steroided out asshole named Jonathan Pentland and his wife harassed some black kid walking through their neighborhood. And best I can tell, it was like dude was just walking down the sidewalk and they ran out there and they were filming him and shoving him and smacked his phone out of his hand. And it was like a really awful scene.
The woman that recorded it talked about it on Twitter. She was a young black woman who, and she said it was the most like difficult thing to watch because it's like you're there and you're the one filming it. And she said that she wasn't able to catch it, but like he pushed him a bunch of times before it got even on camera. Like he assaulted him a bunch of times, and that part did not make that part was not on her footage.
There's all they needed is the one. Like when you assault someone, it's not like you have to do it 7 times. They got a shot of him getting shoved really hard, and it sucks. This kid, I don't know how old he is. I don't mean to.
Looks like he's like 80 pounds wet.
He's a very unintimidating kid. And look, it's 100% bullshit to judge people the way they dress, but he's not dressed unusually. He's not like, wearing gang clothes. I don't know what. He just looks like a normal kid out for a walk on a sidewalk, which is a device specifically made for that purpose. And this guy's like 7 times his size. He's extremely angry and roided out.
He's a big meathead. Here. Let us play a little bit.
Yeah.
We will have to get the report by ourselves.
What are you doing here?
And walk. Well, you've been here like 15 minutes now.
Let's go. Walk away.
Keep walking.
Walk away.
His wife's off camera.
Who's the blonde woman behind? Who is that?
I don't know. Maybe their kid. I have no idea. But it doesn't even matter. It's like, first of all.
Well, it just reminded me of
tell this motherfucker why he's walking to begin with. Is he at his house? No, he wasn't here. He was literally on the sidewalk.
Look, if someone is walking in your yard, you can go out there and ask them what they're doing. I don't have a problem with that. But it looks like this guy's just walking down the sidewalk, and
he really did live in the area.
And he lived in the area. They're just the whole thing's just sort of crazy.
It's insane that I was watching it and this guy says all this fucked up shit and he basically says everything he could think he could say without saying the N-word. He says, this is a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Is it? I would hate to be this guy's neighbor. Well, I would be like, this guy is an aggressive douchebag and he's going to blow up his fucking cap any day. I would hate to be that guy's neighbor.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the common denominator in all of these, I think, is that it seems like in each one, there are white people that have institutional privilege, whether you're a cop or a soldier, that are stopping black people over stupid, small, insignificant bullshit. And then they just escalate shit.
Well, it's like those Karen videos or like the barbecue Becky or these people will call up like remember last year during George Floyd protests and stuff, there was this video of this guy who I guess I don't know if he was black or whatever, but he was like writing something on like a wall, and this woman, this concerned white lady, was like, "What are you doing?" And like, she's like, "I live here" or something, and the guy's like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah.
It's like, no, he lived there. It was his fucking house. It was his brownstone or something.
Yeah.
And this bitch was like insinuating all these horrible things about him. And he's like, it's almost like a joke because it's like, you don't live here. I live here.
It's just,
and she was upset because he was writing like Black Lives Matter or something. And it was, you
know
that video of her?
Yeah.
And there was like that creepy picture of her, like, she looked like something out of like The Ring or something. I don't know. Well, that image went around like lots of places. This woman, she got crucified.
George Floyd was initially stopped for maybe passing a bad check, and that Dante Wright, I think, was stopped for out-of-date tags.
And that was recent, you said.
Yep.
So the fucked up thing is, you have this trial going on right now with Chauvin, and hopefully it's ending soon.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of like pins and needles because we're like, is this motherfucker are we gonna finally see some justice and see a motherfucker like that go to jail for what he did?
Yeah.
Which, literally an outright murder. And then hopefully they go after the other cops or whatever, you know. I don't know. I don't expect them to get the same.
Yeah.
Chauvin should get all the shit thrown at him, but like they need to make an example of this motherfucker. And everyone's kind of pins and needles. And while that happens, we see another guy, kind of young, right? He's Duante.
Yeah, Dante Wright, I think is his
How
name.
old was he?
Jeez, that's a great question. I don't know. He was young.
I love it. The right wing. They get all mad because they saw a picture of him holding a gun or something at one point.
Jeez.
Right?
Well,
but the irony is, like, these assholes take pictures of themselves holding guns all the fucking time. And they love it. They love like showing their guns. But if a brown person has a gun in their hand, all of a sudden it's like, all of a sudden they're 2A. They're 2A Second Amendment bullshit. All of a sudden is gonna get thrown out, and then that guy's a criminal. And it's like,
all right, he was a 20-year-old man. It said,
yeah, he was a kid.
Right. Yeah, he was a kid.
Baby.
Now here's where like I kind of get a little conflicted because I think like it looked like George Floyd did pretty much everything right and still got killed, you know. And this kid Dante Wright, it looks like maybe he got a little nervous or whatever, which I could certainly understand. But again, he got stopped for like some bullshit reason. He got stopped for out of date plates. Most states aren't even enforcing that now. Texas is just starting to enforce plate stickers like tonight because of the coronavirus. They said there was a moratorium on plate renewal fines and shit over the last year. I'm not even sure this kid should have been pulled over, to be honest with you.
No, they say that like usually it's like, okay, we got your plate, and now we're going to send you a ticket in the mail and you have to pay it.
Well, my whole thing is that, like, basically, here's my theory. And this isn't my theory. I'm like relaying the theories of other people that I believe in. That all this shit is predicated on getting tax revenue out of poor people. You know, all those like
working people, and poor people. That's all it is.
Well, cops don't cruise wealthy neighborhoods looking for minor infractions to ticket people.
That would be the place to do it. You know, it's like you should treat that like the way kids like treat Halloween. They want to go to the wealthy area because that's where they're going to get the full candy bars, like the full Snickers bar. Cops should be going to the rich areas, pulling over these people and bilking them, because I bet you they could make like 10 times more from one of these guys over.
But they won't, because the rich guy will know the mayor, or the rich guy will have a friend.
Because the argument in the end of the day, this is true. The police are there to regulate the regular person or the poor.
Yeah.
In the name of the rich.
Yeah, and they see that all the time. This is kind of like a new type of plantation mentality or something like that.
Well, that's why there's guys, and we'll talk about this later, but that's why there's guys like Matt Gaetz who think they could get away with everything. So they're ever guilty because they know they're all little Lord Fauntleroys. They know that the laws don't abide to them. Like they don't have to abide to them like we do. We're the plebes. The plebes are the ones that.
Right.
But I mean, okay, so basically, this kid was killed by a female cop.
Yeah.
Who, I guess, meant to tase him, as the police said in a. Man, these chief of police, man, they need to like learn how to become either better public speaking or maybe not go in front of cameras. Like that asshole who literally defended the kid who killed a bunch of Asian
right.
Women, and he said that the guy, he had a bad day.
Yeah.
Like,
come on.
What? And then this asshole, this chief of police or whatever, was like, oh, she meant to pull out her taser, but mistaken her taser for a gun. Now, listen, I ain't gonna lie. I think I held a handgun once in my life.
Mm-hmm.
When I played the game Narc. It was a great game, Narc. Those guns were heavy. Like,
oh yeah,
in the arcade. Like, I know how a handgun's heavy. I ain't gonna lie. But I know one thing: a taser is much lighter.
Yeah, they're made out of plastic. They're
literally
little,
very different. You cannot tell me that, like, man. I mean, you can make any argument in the world, like the heat of the moment or any of that stuff. No, she had a fucking gun in her hand and she shot. And I guess he's dead, right? He's dead.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he died.
He like drove off, right? Did he die?
He died later. Yeah, I thought that was real strange too. It looked like
the video you showed me. It was basically you see her holding the gun though, but she's like, "I'm gonna tase him," or whatever. And it's like,
well,
I don't know what maybe you guys, I know people have different definitions of words.
Yeah,
and like maybe in her world, tasing means
right. Well, she said, "I'm gonna tase him," and then she shot him, and then she says, "Oh shit," and then she's like, "I shot him," and look. This is a weird one, and I don't know how I feel about it, so I don't want to like swear that what I'm about to say is like my final feeling on the matter. But like,
no, this is it. You will be held to it.
Well, I think
I'm gonna make an NFT of this. This is my $1 million right here. So,
I think that
make it count.
I think that it was an accident, but I don't think that releases her from blame or responsibility. Like, I mean.
I bet there's been many people who went to jail. Accidentally killing somebody.
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say is that like, if you nod off at the wheel and you plow over a family and you kill them, nobody thinks that you did that on purpose, but you still probably go to jail for it. Or you go to honestly, you do. It's like, that's what manslaughter is,
Yeah. Well, so she was fired pretty quickly.
Yeah, real quickly.
And I guess they charged her.
Yes.
Today. Was it today?
Yeah.
With manslaughter.
And I think that sounds appropriate because I don't. Again,
I will say this: she fucking killed somebody.
Yeah.
And if it was truly a mistake on her part, I would say she's still dangerously incompetent.
That's it.
And should not be. We should not have people like that in the police. And the other thing too is like, again, what did they pull this guy over for?
It's expired tags.
It's
bullshit. Expired tags.
No, that's not why they pulled him over. They pulled him over because they were probably hoping that he would lead to a treasure trove of other things, like maybe he has drugs on him. Maybe. I was pulled over one time when I was traveling, when I moved here from California to Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my long hippie hair and I had my Chico plate still in my car. And I drove
back seat full of mood mat. A back seat full of mood mats.
I wasn't part of that world yet. No.
Big 420 tattoo on your bicep.
Yeah, 420, smoking a big reefer. My bomb, actually, while I drove. My wheel operated as a bomb. And I had massive amount of, like vials and vials of weed on me. No, but I got pulled over by a cop in a shithole little town and pulled me over. It was nice to me. I'm alive.
Yep.
White privilege.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not kidding. That's why the fact
that is it. Yeah.
Talked to me, that he didn't fucking push me against the roof of my car, didn't put handcuffs on me, didn't do any of that stuff. Talk to me like I'm just a regular person that might be carrying weed from California to Texas.
Yeah.
But he still wanted to, he pulled me over, not to just to really give me a ticket, because I was going the same speed as everyone else. And it was ridiculous. It was like, really? Come on. The fuck? He let me go in the end because he wanted to go through my car and see if I had drugs.
Right.
But the difference was he did not, he talked to me like I was a fucking person.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if my skin was dark, this story would be, instead of mildly entertaining, probably would have been actually my demise.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
See, that's the thing, is that like I think with the Dante Wright thing, I think it's just such a good example of the system being real fucked up. When people say we should defund the police, I think this is the kind of thing they're talking about.
Abolish the police is actually, when people say, but like I said, the guy pulled me over because he was hoping that I had drugs on me, which would lead to a bigger thing, like a bigger fine for him. Like he gets, I don't know, he gets like a gold star for the day. I have no idea. But he was fishing, basically.
Yeah.
He didn't really pull me over for like just because I went fast, but because he saw my Chico plates, California plates, and my long hippie hair.
Yeah.
He was moving. And I guarantee you, they pulled that guy over, one, because he was brown. And two, they probably thought they could find drugs on him. And then to a bigger arrest and a bigger fine and a bigger whatever.
And the whole system is built to get to rack up these infractions on poorer people, and you get $30 out of them, $50 out of them, $100 out of them, or maybe you get to impound their car, or maybe you get to
sometimes
take their car. Maybe you get, like, that's the thing, is that like not registering your car, I don't think that's a crime. I think that's a civil matter. That should be, like you said, oh, I noticed your tags were expired. I'm going to mail you this fine, or I'm going to attach a fine to your drive. Next time you go to renew your driver's license,
fixed in a month or something, you have to pay this fine. Right.
Cops with guns shouldn't be out there collecting these petty things. That doesn't make any sense.
I think there were two of them for this one kid.
Yeah.
Usually when I get pulled over too, if I ever been pulled over, I've never been pulled over by multiple people. It's usually just a cop by himself pulling you over to get that speeding ticket out of you or whatever infraction you did.
Well, the other thing is that I would want to read this more before I swore to it, is that I heard that the woman who wound up shooting the kid, she was there to train the other two cops.
Oh man, they got some really bad trainers.
Well, often in government, like you get people that are like, you fail up. People that aren't great cops become like trainers.
I know I've heard this theory about like government, how people fail up, but I've worked in the private sector my whole life, and I've watched people in the private sector fail
That's
up
true. Yeah.
all the time. So I think it's a stigma. I used to see that a lot, especially like in the 80s. You always hear like that shit. Like, especially, I think it's all Ghostbusters and shit. Like, it's like all this, like, oh, you fail up in the government. But man, you work in the private sector, people like literally like 90% of management is like people failed up.
Well, I don't know. I think, like I said, these are all these
the management
all of these cases are the same in that you have white people in positions of power killing or threatening to kill or putting at great risk black persons. That's they're all common in that way. But they're real different in other ways. They are the difference between the George Floyd case and the Dante Wright case, I think, is pretty striking, even though it's the same basic problem. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird.
But again, it's like three people we brought up, three people who you would consider different ranges of very minor offenses. Again, I don't even know what George Floyd was really arrested for.
Yeah, I heard it was.
He had like a counterfeit 20, but I don't even know if it was even that. Because didn't they say there was no counterfeit 20? Actually?
I thought he was trying to pass a bad check. To be honest,
it doesn't even matter. It's not
I didn't even try to track it down because you're right. That's not that's focusing on the wrong
if
point.
You think Ashli Babbit was killed for the wrong, like if you think she was wrongfully killed, for what she did, but you're okay with George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, this Duante guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you're okay with their deaths, then I don't think we can have a serious conversation.
No.
Like, you're not somebody that I can really, like...
You're not a fair broker.
But, like, that's insane. I mean, like, listen, yeah, I can make the argument and say, you're right. I don't think Ashli Babbit should have been killed. I don't think anyone should have been killed.
No, of course not.
I don't believe anyone should be killed. I'm into that. I'm like, I am pro-life.
Yeah.
And I don't think people should be murdered.
Right.
Now I know that's not what pro-life means, and I'm not gonna walk on that landmine because I'm pro-choice.
Right.
Which is something else. But I guess they are pro-choice when it comes to people who are murdered.
Yeah.
And they're not pro-life.
It is tough. I don't know. I hope that I don't know. It's weird.
It's so gross. Like these people were literally murdered. They're murdered. Yeah. If you look at the scales of things, they were just flat out murdered.
Yeah.
I don't even care what reason, mild offense they had. You're not supposed to die over that. You get a slap on the wrist, you get a fine, maybe you serve like a day in jail, you have a court case if it even needed to get to that. And that's it. And you go home.
That's the things that I think they need to dramatically reimagine the way they handle policing. Like I think
that term reimagining and stuff is like a fairy tale. You can't reimagine it's like the thing with Ashli Babbit. You gonna like try to convince this woman that she was wrong and that she's been around the wrong people?
No.
You're trying to convince these cops who are conditioned to pull out a gun first instance the minute a black guy flinches wrong.
There are cities that do that like literally reimagine policing and everything. And
yeah, I just think that sounds like
I agree that maybe the word itself isn't the best word, but like
you just see like the Tinkerbell comes down.
Yeah. But if you have like your police force, and I'm just making up numbers off the top of my head, your police force shouldn't be like 50 people with 50 guns. Like that shouldn't be like how you build your police force. You should have police with guns. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
I think you go with the police academy thing.
You should have a sound effects guy.
You have a sound effects guy. You got a woman who speaks soft, but then does a karate chop.
Yes, right.
And then you have Tackleberry, who has you got a guy with 50 guns versus 50 guys.
No, but like you should have. I remember when I lived in Portland in the 90s.
He was the best.
They had a bunch of cops that were basically unarmed. They weren't cops. They were like uniformed people in downtown Portland, and they basically helped people. No, they would be like, if you were a tourist, they would give you directions, and they would kind of like, if something happened, like if a bicyclist took a spill, like they would race over there and like, walkie-talkie someone and help them out. They were basically like that, and like they were people that kind of like kept shit moving, Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not even sure that was a great idea.
Hard dudes with some hard guns.
Well, I just think that, like, for the most part,
that sounds weird.
Cops, yeah, it does. For the most part, cops have turned into revenue generating machines. I hardly ever hear, it's just like such huge news if you hear about a cop stopping a crime, because it hardly ever happens. And cops hardly ever solve crimes. They hardly ever
escalate. They usually escalate crimes, which is what they were trying to do to that Duante guy. They escalated it. They didn't de-escalate the moment.
like if you like often I'll be at a Walmart or whatever, and there's a cop out front, and what happened is that a private loss prevention officer detained someone inside, and then they hand him over to the cop, and the cop takes him to the jail or whatever. That doesn't need to be a cop. That could be Uber, for all, I mean, honestly, for all anybody knows. I mean, it's just like you send a van and you say, hey dude, get in the van, you're going to downtown or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
and some people might even view that excessive, but you know what? He's not killed.
Right.
Some bumbling moron who can't figure out the difference between a gun and the thing that's bullshit is like, I don't know if I believe her that she didn't know. Aren't they usually on the opposite side?
Yeah. I saw the video. I just don't understand why she would kill him on camera.
Well, they have cameras.
Yeah.
Now, what these cops tend to do, you've seen footage, you've seen pictures of it, where the cop car will lift up their hood of their car to cover the dashboard.
Well, fortunately, she's going to go on trial, and they'll figure it out there. I mean, like that's why you have a trial.
I have a feeling, though, if Derek Chauvin gets off, that this woman, there's going to be like
if Derek Chauvin gets off, that is going to be, there will be riots.
And they should. I'm not endorsing anything, but like this is insane. This should be a case closed. This should be a book closed shit. Like
I listened to a couple hours of the trial, like here and there. It is comically obvious that the dude's guilty. I mean, it
is normal human reaction to have people get very upset and be out in the streets because if Chauvin got off, it should be expected, and
it'll be a disaster.
They know that's going to happen, and they're going to do it, and they're going to react in the worst way, and they're going to escalate the moment. They're not going to de-escalate.
No.
Like the George Floyd protest, it was a known fact that there were off-duty cops that were escalating.
Yeah.
Remember that one guy that like was breaking windows?
Yeah, the window guy.
I don't know what he was. I don't know if he was a cop. I think there was found out he was a neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like,
I think you're right. I don't know.
He was like caught on camera and everything, and it was like the guy was like breaking windows in an AutoZone or some shit, and it wasn't a protest. It was a guy who was literally there.
Yeah. Just rolled up with a crowbar.
Escalate. And there's people who want to do that. But, again, it's like, why did it need to get to that moment with that Duante guy where she felt the need to pull out a gun?
It's a little hard. I mean, like, ideally.
Isn't a taser too much, too?
Well, that's the other thing. Is like, look, if you pulled him over and you got his plate and you got his ID, send him on his way.
Did he have a weapon?
No.
Is that it?
I don't think so. This kid, he didn't act right when he got pulled over. But the reason he didn't act right is clearly because a lot of times when a black person gets pulled over and there's 3 cops there, each of them with their hand on their gun, just bad shit's going to happen. Of course, you're going to be nervous.
2021, and any kid who's in their 20s or younger has witnessed.
Right.
One of the most disturbing videos I've ever seen during the Floyd protests. Cop riots and shit was a young black kid playing basketball or whatever in his front yard on his driveway, and a cop car drove by and he hid behind a garbage can.
Yeah.
Until the cop car passed, and then he got out of the garbage. He wasn't in the can. I mean, not like
he
got around it. Yeah, that's when he turned to Oscar the Grouch. It was weird.
Right.
But it was like depressing. This kid has to grow up on that shit. And it's like, so back to the one with that moron guy, the bald dude who was younger.
He looks, I don't know if you've not seen him listening at home, but he looks like Sloth from the Goonies.
A more symmetrical.
Slightly
more symmetrical Sloth. Maybe, like the guy from the Hills Have Eyes, that dude.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Lead singer of Midnight Oil, something like that. Yeah.
The guy, that wrestler that's from Plan 9 from outer space that they make all those masks.
Oh
of.
yeah, George, Gorgeous
Well,
George.
George Animal Steel played him in the
Oh,
Tim Burton movie.
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Real guy, but that famous mask is like Tor, I think his name
Yeah.
was. All right, the guy's an asshole, but it's like I watched this show Them that's on Amazon.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Hard. It's a really intense show. I can't. It's very hard show to watch. I don't know if they'll make another season. I don't expect them to. I recommend watching it, but just know you're going to be very uncomfortable when you watch it. There's a lot of stuff that going on. I wouldn't say it's not a perfect show.
Yeah.
But the main premise of the show is about a black family that moves into Compton in the 1958.
Yeah, yeah.
And the white people who live there are excruciatingly horrible to them. Like, I mean, violently. Like, it gets really bad. Like, what they do to this family. It is disgusting. And watching this moment with that idiot harassing that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, this show is interesting because it's like, I feel like some people go watch it and be like, yeah, the past was bad, you know, good thing we came a long way.
Right.
And it's like, no, we didn't. This shit hasn't changed. If anything, they could probably, if they do a season 2, they should have it take place now.
Yeah, right.
Because I guarantee you that they could. And you watch this video of this meathead harassing this guy. I mean, he says all these horrible things. He's like, you don't belong here. This is a tight-knit community. It's like, dude, just say what you want to say and get it over with. We know where you're going.
It's intense. It is. It's like a scene right out of the 60s or something, early 60s.
It looks, but it's, you know it still goes on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, I wonder what's going to happen to this guy. You said he was fired?
No, he's a soldier. He's a current soldier.
And his commanding officer is African-American, right?
I did not know
that. The guy
that.
who runs the base or something? The guy who's like, he tweeted something. The guy who's like his top officer.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, he got arrested for assault, and which is, again, that sounds like a reasonable charge. And the Army is investigating. The sheriff's arrested him, and I guess the Department of Justice is investigating. So this guy's like fucked. You know, I mean, he filmed his. Do
you have a GoFundMe yet, like Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah, probably. But he's fucked. You know, this is a bad one. And from what I understand, he released this video. He had a part in releasing the video.
Well, the woman that filmed it, everyone thought at first it was the wife that was filming it, but it wasn't. It was this, like I said, it was a younger black woman that released it. And unless there was a different video, I have no idea.
I don't know. Well, it's I don't know.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's any updates. I mean, it's one of those things that just gets around on the internet. I don't know why. I wish people understood, especially in this digital age, where anything could go online at any moment, and young people tape everything.
Oh yeah, they do.
Because I've seen it in action. It's funny. You could say almost in a way like there's good things and there's bad things about that. There's good things with capture a bully, a racist bully. But then there's bad things, and there's like it could be used in all different kinds of ways. It's like almost like something out of like 1984. I know people love when the word 1984 gets used, especially when the right wing uses it.
Yeah.
But one of the lines in 1984 was like how the youth are the worst in this, and that they're used by the government to turn in basically everybody. Well, younger people put everything online. They videotape everything, willingly doing it. So there could be some bad things. I would say this is one of the good ones. In that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's a good moment to be captured or a horrible moment to be captured, and maybe some justice will come out of it.
It is.
You think guys like this who are not that old. This guy's probably like younger than us, actually.
Yeah,
The
I'll
guy-
bet you he's young. He's probably younger than me for sure.
Probably in his mid-30s. I don't know. Probably easily find it out.
Oh, it's right here. He's 42 years old.
Okay, he's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little more tech savvy than them. I would just think that like people would be aware of capitalism. But who knows? This guy's such a moron that he probably thinks that he looked like the good guy there, and he's happy to share. It's like, look at me, I'm defending the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm the hero. It's like you know Caitlin Bennett, the gun girl.
Yeah, diaper girl.
Yeah. She puts out these videos all the time where she gets confronted by she confronts left-leaning people and stuff, and they destroy her all the time.
And she puts
it out anyway, thinking like she looks good here. I guess
it's bizarre.
It's all about perspective. I bet you the right-wing people that like watching her probably she's showing these out to be what they are. This guy probably thinks he's the hero here, and he's probably good. Is he gonna learn something?
Well, I think he's gonna learn something. I don't know if he's gonna.
Will he learn will it make him a better person?
No.
Probably not. I don't think so.
I don't think
I said, pay attention to this thing and see if there's this motherfucker gets a GoFundMe that all of a sudden has like $100,000 in it.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen many times.
It's something, man. I don't know.
Rotor shows up and My Pillow guy shows up.
Well, speaking of, this will be kind of a good place to transition. Speaking of people that never learn, Matt Gaetz is in the news.
We talked about this. We've been talking about it the past couple of weeks as part of this scandal that he created. And we talked about it earlier. I mean, there's more and more coming out about that other guy who I guess has been working with the FBI for like a year.
Yeah, apparently the Joel Greenberg has been ratting out and collecting evidence for about a year. And that's obviously very bad news for Matt Gaetz, but it's also, to me, I would imagine there's probably some other people too. There's probably wasn't all just Matt Gaetz. I'll bet you it was some other people, in Florida Republican politics. So, that'll be pretty interesting. I did. This is awesome. Matt, the New York Times, I think, got a hold of Matt Gaetz's Venmo records. And Matt Gaetz. Okay, so here are some of the dollar amounts and subject lines that Matt Gaetz Venmoed to people, a couple of whom were under 18 at the time, from what I'm reading. $1,000 for the item salad. $1,000 for ice cream. $500 for stuff. 500.
That's probably the best one. Stuff.
Yeah.
The thing that you want to use.
$500, and the emoji is police officer. So I don't know what's going on there. One with the emoji Love Hotel for $300.
Well, that's a suspect.
Yep. One for $400, and it's just the kissy face.
Aww.
And my favorite is the $200 with the subject line of ass. So
yeah, he's fucked. I mean, the thing is, though, this asshole is still. And the thing is, this investigation started during the Trump administration.
Yeah.
And Matt Gaetz, towards the end of Trump's administration, was hoping for a preemptive pardon.
Well, they say the FBI confiscated, I guess around November or so. Yeah, Matt Gaetz got a new phone number, and the reason he got a new phone number is because the FBI took his old phone, and immediately after the FBI took his phone, he went to Trump and asked for a pardon.
Yeah, supposedly Trump's like staying out of this. He's probably like, I got my own problems.
Yeah, right.
Like, if I get involved with you, it's just gonna open like discovery into me.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's got his hands full. That Diet Coke button doesn't work anymore. There's
a lot going on there. But Matt Gaetz is like, he's acting like he's He didn't do anything. He still tweets like he did nothing wrong.
Yep.
But my favorite was he tweeted a Project Veritas video today, which is
nice,
hysterical. It's hysterical that Project Veritas is the fact that still exists.
Yeah, that is really funny.
What?
That is really funny.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I would use the word funny as in more sad, but yeah. What? Go ahead. What?
No, it's just you had brought up a great point earlier, which I knew, but I hadn't like framed it this way. You're saying that he's acting like someone who's never been held accountable.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably real similar to that Jonathan Pentland, who felt real comfortable being filmed assaulting a black kid. I don't think that Jonathan Pentland has probably ever been held accountable.
Not in that situation.
Not in that sense.
He thinks he's better than that guy.
Yeah.
And the joke is he could be we don't know anything about the other guy. On an economic level, that guy could be doing better than him. Who the fuck knows? It doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. But this guy, he's showing his white privilege, which he literally is doing.
Well, Matt Gaetz.
That his white privilege makes him think he could push someone around who's not white and not face any consequences.
Yeah.
That's white privilege too.
Well, Matt Gaetz has like a white privilege, but this is more of like an old school privilege where
I think it's more of a fancy rich boy privilege, in that my father's the judge, my father is the owner of the company, my father is the it's my dad, it's Meghan McCain, it's all that, like my dad, he's never had to worry about anything in life, probably.
Right.
Unlike, I'm sure he has things to worry about now.
Yeah.
But he knows, he probably thinks in the end he's going to get off.
Well, I don't know. He's
in a gerrymandered district, unless the Republican Party kicks him out. I don't think they will, especially in this current party, because they seem to enforce bad behavior on everybody now.
He may, like his plan probably, if I know anything, would be to, if he's going to go down, he's going to fight the charges. And if he gets found guilty, he's going to ask to have sentencing delayed. And he's going to try to drag it out until the next election, where he hopes Trump or someone like Trump will be elected and pardon him. That's probably where his mind is going, because, like you said, I don't think he's ever been held accountable, because there's always been someone there to bail him out. He just doesn't have anyone there right now to bail him out because Biden's in office. So there's really not much more to say about Gaetz. I'll bet you I'll bet you though that this starts to come into focus, and I'm super interested, just from a salacious standpoint. I'm real curious as how
Salacious crumb.
Yeah, salacious crumb. That will be me.
That giggle if he goes to jail.
Yeah, that'll be me outside of the courthouse. Like
what?
That will be me outside of the courthouse when Matt Gaetz goes.
Yeah, like long weird ears and like mouth.
Oh shit. Well, and I guess like another. I don't even know what you had said today, that you can't even with this guy anymore, and I 100% know what you mean. Ben Shapiro said, here's one of my favorite all-time clips on the internet is Ben Shapiro a long time ago was talking about, I guess he was talking about like Florida with global warming, the sea levels were rising, and it was going to take a bunch of people's homes.
And he said, just sell them.
Yeah, Ben was like, well, they'll just sell them. And some guy breaks through.
The guy, I know, I forgot his name on YouTube, but he did it. He edited the video.
Yeah.
He does like a Shining with an axe, breaks the wall behind Ben, and he goes, "Ooh, Ben, who's gonna buy it? Fucking Aquaman."
Yeah.
It's just stupid. And it's like, the thing that drives me is like, he's not dumb, Ben Shapiro. We know he's not dumb. He's definitely not this boy genius everyone makes fun of.
No,
But he's smart enough to know what he's saying, and he's just a shithead. He's a shithead. And so today, I couldn't even stomach through the whole clip, but he basically said something like 4 degrees or something on the environment.
4 degrees Celsius,
4 degrees Celsius change won't make a difference. And it's like, are you, maybe he is stupid, because 1 degree is enough to shift everything.
Oh yeah.
Fuck up our entire ecosystem. 1 degree is enough to melt the polar ice caps.
Yeah.
To fuck everything. 1 degree creates. Oh, you like those like what are the hurricanes? The
Oh yeah.
What they have like 3 level 4 whatever.
Yeah, level 5's the biggest.
But now we're getting like level 6, and it's
Right.
like, how are we getting them? I don't know. Probably because the Atlantic Ocean heated up 1 extra degree.
Yeah, easily.
Like,
It's
all this
amazing.
shit forms in the Atlantic Ocean, and the Gulf. What?
Yeah, I mean, when I used to live in Florida, I lived in Florida for a long time. They would talk about that all the time. You look at the temperatures of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, and you look at these windstorms coming off the coast of Africa, and they travel over the water and pick up this warm water. It's a fucking nightmare. 4 degrees would be astronomically bad.
Yeah, 1 degree and 2 degrees is like a massive cause for alarm.
Right.
4 degrees, oh my God, like you're gonna lose cities.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose islands. You're gonna lose, like I said, I tweeted, I hope whatever hell insect that this 4 degree changes goes and stings Ben Shapiro in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, oh, you like mosquitoes? Well, guess what? You're gonna really love them, because it's amazing. Like with these weather changes, it like almost spawns these like just horrible insects. Like,
well,
last year, the murder hornets.
Yeah. Well, if you think like tropical diseases don't thrive when shit like that happens.
COVID is a product of our environment.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I don't know. He's a fuckhead. I can't believe he I know he's supposed to be like super smart. He seems like of such average intelligence.
I mean, but it's like, to say that without any irony whatsoever. Like 4 degrees. You know, I went outside and it was 4 degrees hotter today. No big deal. That's not how it works. That doesn't mean that it just got 4 degrees hotter or got 4 degrees colder. And hey, I'll just wear a hat today, or good, I'll bring a light jacket. No, that's not what it means. We're talking about a global shift.
Yeah, I mean, never mind. Like, I'm not a super genius or anything, but I can just think of a million off the top of my head. Like, I'll bet you that affects where fish swim and how people catch fish.
Where animals migrate.
Yeah, I'll bet you that affects I'll bet you that affects fuel efficiency in ocean-going vessels. I'll bet you that affects fuel efficiency in airplanes that have to suck in oxygen to make the jet propel.
You remember when it got really cold here a couple months ago in Texas?
Yeah.
That week?
Yeah.
Do you remember before the freeze kicked in, we were inundated with these like robins, these like birds?
Yeah.
So, thousands of them. I found a couple of dead ones. They froze to death.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah.
My wife's always like, pick that up. Like, gotta get you pick them up with bare hand, and then
Yeah.
No, right. I use 3 plastic bags, wrap them around my hand, pick it up like the way I pick them. But I never saw birds like this ever.
Yeah.
And it was because we got unnatural weather. It's not supposed to get that cold here. And we might have that happen to us more.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
Because we don't have mountains blocking us. And this is all due to climate change. They said that the Texas, we got affected. There was a freeze because of weather coming down, basicty from the Arctic.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
They said it was there used to be a jet stream that kind of bisected the country, and it would keep the super cold air to the north and the super toasty air to the south. But that jet stream, as the result of climate change, has broken up. It's not as strong as it used to be. And so it's much easier for Arctic air to dip down below where the jet stream used to be. You know?
Get these idiots who are like, oh, it's cold out. There's no such thing as global warming. And it's like, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, the earth could freeze over.
Right.
Global warming.
Yeah.
Oh, hey there, dude. It shouldn't be hot.
It's just bananas.
But like, and again, why is that really bad? Oh, well, it's really cold and that's bad. But we live in a state that's not used to this. Therefore, the building codes were not built for deep freezing weather. Therefore, pipes exploding everywhere, people freezing to death in their homes, grids failing.
Yeah.
Because they were not built to a code. They didn't have to be, because it never got as fucking cold. Why did it get so cold? Fucking global warming.
Right.
Why? Ben Shapiro is a fucking asshole. The thing that's bad about him is, again, it's not him. I mean, it is him.
Yeah.
It's
his
how
fans,
much of an audience he has. We saw that video and we laugh at it, right? We think he's an idiot. We see a 2-minute clip. There are people who are watching his full show for hours, and there's millions of them doing it. Huge. He probably gets more ratings than most people on cable news gets on all the networks.
Yeah.
He has a huge reach on Facebook. He is viewed as an intellect by morons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he is the Trump voters version of what a rich person is Trump, and the Trump versions.
That you boys really smart.
Yeah, they think that Ben Shapiro is that's their version of a smart person. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I mean, we also have their version of a working class person, which is our last topic.
Yeah.
Last Mike Rowe, and I was going to toss in the JD Vance, the hillbilly elegy guy in there too.
Okay, so Mike Rowe was recently interviewed or something, and he said something about how people shouldn't get $15 an hour because those jobs are not meant to be permanent. Fast food jobs.
Right.
And again, that is I've heard this argument all my life.
Yep.
But that's a lie. There are people that are, when I was younger, you would hear these jobs are meant for high school kids, and eventually you grow out of it and you go get a real job somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. But I remember under the Bush administration, especially with how they handled things,
right?
W. Bush, a lot of those fast food jobs became people's actual jobs because it was the only jobs that they could find. And it wasn't high school kids; it was fucking adults that weren't there for fun money or get money for the prom or get money to fuck around or whatever. It was to survive.
Yeah.
Rowe, if he was an actual working class person, would know that. But he's not, because he plays one on the Learning Channel or something.
Yeah, he LARPs. Didn't you say that's what he does? He LARPs working class.
He's a working class LARPer.
Yeah.
He had a show years ago that was kind of interesting. I've seen it. It was just it was called Dirty Jobs, and it was all about him. And he would promote it as if he cares about these working class people and everything. And he's part of the working man, all that bullshit. He plays the part as a tough guy. You made a joke and said he was a trained opera singer.
He is. It's not a joke. He is, and I can
trained too, not does it for fun, learned on his own.
No, you can find clips of him singing opera, and he's apparently relatively good at it. I mean, I can't.
I mean, hey, that's great. I just think it's really. Nothing says working class like a trained opera singer.
Yeah, it is bizarre. It's like the antithesis of what you would imagine a working class person. He was born March 18th, 1962. He's an American television host, narrator, and former opera singer. Now
he's Lunch Pail Joe.
Yep, he sang professionally with the Baltimore Opera. So.
Whoa! What was that, Joseph?
that was truly bizarre. We both lost power just for a moment, and as a result, our internet connection zapped, and I think we got cut off right in the middle of my explanation of Mike Rowe having sung professionally for the Baltimore Opera. And here's another hardcore working class bona fide. He currently lives in San Francisco.
Oh, wait. He lives in San Francisco?
Yes.
What is he? Some kind of latte drinking?
I was going to say he lives
feminine.
Catty corner to a feminist bookstore and latte shop. So,
wow, that's crazy. It's like he wants to live somewhere nice.
Yeah, right. It is bizarre. He is. Someone...
Are you saying that he's not a really working class guy?
No,
and that he's a lying sack of shit?
Now, I will say it looked like his parents were both school teachers, public school teachers.
I mean, listen, I don't know what his upbringing is or anything like that, and I make jokes, but like, regardless, the guy is a fake. He plays this character on TV where it's all about like hard work and stuff, and that's honestly, I don't even care about that part. When I get annoyed is when he starts going on TV a lot, vouches for Trump, and says that people should not get $15 an hour.
Yeah,
knowing full well, saying something stupid, boomerish thing, a very boomerish stupid thing to say, like, well, only high school kids should be doing those jobs. Back when I worked at the penny whistle, we used to, whatever.
He's kind of a dangerous guy in the sense that, like, I looked him up because I was going to make a Bernie Madoff joke.
He's like a union buster, if you think about it.
He is, and he also said, Bernie Sanders said basically like college should be free. And Mike Rowe said, well, not everyone should go to college. And that's a weird thing because I 100% agree with him. I think that there's plenty of people that are going to do just fine without college and could make more money.
Well, I mean, if college is free, it doesn't mean that people have to go to it.
Right, exactly. That's where I'm saying is that, like, when Bernie says college should be free, the correct answer isn't, well, not everyone should go to college. The correct answer would be like, yes, college should be free, but so should trade school, and so should apprenticeships, and so should work programs. Right. And there should be a whole bunch of shit that's free that's available as options. Of course, like, not everyone needs to go to college. I 100% believe that. But that's not really what Mike Rowe is saying. Mike Rowe is saying, let's not make college free. That's what he said. He's saying, right. Like,
he LARPs as his working class guy. He talks about like dirty jobs or whatever. Yeah. Like, I'm a pig shit farm. Maybe that was that movie Mad Max. I don't remember. There's an episode of Dirty Jobs. There was an episode of Mad Max, and Tina Turner was in it and said, "You gotta be shoveling pig shit."
Yeah, right.
I think that was in that episode of Dirty Jobs. I don't remember. There was a guy named Master Blaster.
Yeah, that's the tip off. That's
which I guess would be a dirty job too. Think about it. I mean, yeah, and everybody was dirty in this episode. I mean, people did not look like they bathed.
It's like this J.D. Vance guy who did the Hillbilly Elegy. And he's another guy that like sells himself as just a good old working class guy that
let me talk for management.
Yeah, he's just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. But he was another one where he has like a political action committee that's funded by the Mercers.
And that's
sure. Yeah.
Mercers are known for not being like they funded Milo.
Salt of the earth kind of guy. And he is another one who's like considering a run as a Republican in Ohio and shit. And like, fuck him. He's like, he was the one that started all these, you need to understand the Trump voter bullshit.
Oh, that bullshit. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to do that.
I'm sorry, I can't understand why anyone would like him. So I don't need to understand that they're easily conned. I mean, right. I understand that part.
So
I understand that they're rubes.
And this notion that like I need to understand the Trump voter, but the Trump voter has no obligation to understand why I might want clean drinking water.
Right.
Or the Trump voter has no obligation to understand why a 4-degree rise in global temperatures would be catastrophic.
I was going to say that. Yeah. They don't need to understand that, but I'm supposed to understand their grievances.
I'm supposed to, understand why it's such a burden that oxys only come in 80 milligram tablets, instead of 200 milligram tablets.
And why Funko Pops are not.
Right.
But again, this guy's they're charlatans. But the Mike Rowe guy, like I said, back years ago when he had that show, and it was like, okay, it's kind of cool. It's like people learning about jobs that they probably aren't going to know, and it's fine. But then he starts seeing him doing other things, and he goes on like Bill Maher a lot. And then he starts becoming a little bit more political and maybe I wasn't paying attention to Dirty Jobs. I don't even know if I actually sat through an episode. I've seen like clips of it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I just looking at my phone when it was on. I have no idea. I don't remember him throwing anti-union rhetoric during the shows.
Yeah, I don't either.
And he likes working. Shoveling pig shit, and he doesn't need health care. He doesn't need a day off.
He doesn't want to be patronized with preventative medicine.
Yeah. You think he cares about having teeth? That's what straws were made for.
Yeah. It's awful. And you would think that because it does seem like Mike Rowe came from an average upbringing. It's a shame.
Again, it's like if you spent years trying to push like how we should respect these people and we should like understand how important some of these jobs are, that there's people doing them, and it's stuff that we don't think to do, and there's people that do it, and why they fell into it or whatever. And that's fine, and that's educational in some way.
Sure.
But if you're that same guy who then starts saying why these people shouldn't. Why minimum wage, a lot of these jobs that probably don't pay as good, or if they did, they could be paid, they would get paid even more because minimum wage up, because minimum wage works as a way where now people have to. Oh my God, it happened again.
It happened again.
It's like as if maybe Mike Rowe's right about dirty jobs, and like whoever's running this electricity thing is like, don't you be talking about Mike Rowe like that.
What a dick.
No, but Mike Rowe's an asshole because, again, it's like, don't tell us that we're supposed to respect these people when you don't respect them.
Yeah.
Why would you be against them making more money? Who are you working for? Who funds you, Mike Rowe? Why are you against the so-called people who work dirty jobs or whoever work? And now some of these jobs which have people made good money. They're hard jobs. But let me tell you, if minimum wage went up, which he's against, it would benefit those people.
Yeah, for sure.
Work those jobs, because they would make more money, because people would not want to do those jobs if they can just go work at somewhere else. And if those jobs are as horrible as they are, maybe they should be making more.
Yeah.
It's like he's an asshole. He doesn't represent the common man. Anyone that claims they're for the working class and is against a minimum wage raise is lying.
Yeah. For sure.
Against healthcare or college education or that stuff, or like you said, a trade school or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody thought that Mike Rowe endorsed Bernie. Yeah, it would make sense that someone like quote unquote a Mike Rowe,
the character of Mike Rowe would.
The character that he portrays on TV wouldn't be all for Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders is would be a great champion for the working class.
Yeah.
But that's not who Mike Rowe represents.
No.
So, yeah. And then I don't really know much about the hillbilly elegy guy, but knowing that he's funded by the Mercer is just really disgusting.
Yeah. That's all you need to know.
That was based on.
Yeah. They made it with I think Glenn Close, and it was supposed to be the
woman who plays Lois in the Snyder movies.
Oh yeah.
People were trashing it. They were trashing that movie.
Well, I think most of that's because people now know who J.D. Vance is. That he's a Trump supporter and he's a right-wing Republican, and Mercer funded.
These fake people who claim they're for the working class, and it's like, dude, you do not represent the working class.
No.
It's like Ted Cruz saying that the Democrats are the party of wine and cheese, and that the Republicans are blue jeans and beer. It's like, I mean, you could be for blue jeans and beer, but that doesn't mean that you are poor.
Right. Yeah.
You could have some really expensive jeans on and you could be drinking some really expensive beer. Actually, you could get wine for pretty cheap, and you could get some cheese for a pretty good price too.
Yeah, for sure.
That has nothing to do with, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, micro sucks. I saw that, and I just, anyone that should be like a cause for alarm. People should be like, why is this man who claims he's for the working man against the working man getting just a little bit more?
That's the story.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get out of here before another lightning bolt strikes and we have to do this dance again. So yeah, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
Are you still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.